Welcome to the MLB show on the Sauter on Sports Podcast Network. I am Marc Sauter. I'm with Tom. Andre is back. If we have anybody watching from the good old days, our guy Andre is back. I told you that we still love each other, just things are a bit different now, and we're moving on in separate directions, but every once in a while our paths cross. It's a beautiful thing. Tom, you first, bro. How are you doing on a beautiful whatever day it is? I don't even know. Thursday.
Nothing beautiful about it in the prairies. It's October in Winnipeg. I'm doing great though. Much better than outside is. How about you, Mark? How are you?
I mean, if you're talking about the weather, it was -3 this morning, and it was like 28 by the afternoon. So it was beautiful, but cold, but beautiful. Andre, good to see you, man. Really good to see you. How you doing, man? What's going on in your world? How are you feeling?
Feeling pretty good. We got some playoff baseball. We got hockey. We got football. Yeah, sports are beautiful. Weather's beautiful. Life is beautiful. It's not on fire. That's what's most important. So everything's great.
Yeah, we won't get into it if, like I said, if the odd person watching this watched our pod back in March, then they know what's up. We won't deep dive into it all. But yeah, man, it's good to be back. Good to be with the guys. Lots has happened, Tom, since we hung out talking about baseball last. Phillies are gone. The Dodgers have moved on. The Cubs are gone, which means that the Brewers moved on. And we're basically halfway through both of those series. We'll get into all of it. And plus, at the end of the show, Andre is going to hang out with me, and I've been waiting for this moment to talk to a Yankees fan, not as a Blue Jays fan, but I just genuinely want to know from a fan who somewhat has his head on his shoulders what is going to happen next with the New York Yankees. So we'll talk about that at the end. Before we dive into it all, let everybody know this show is brought to you by First Round Collectibles. Right now, promo code SPORTS10 gets you 10% off any card in the entire First Round Collectibles store. They have an ongoing sale up to 50% off selected cards in the First Round Collectibles store. And with our promo code SPORTS10, not only do you get 10% off of regular priced items, but sales items as well. That's up to 60% off selected cards with our promo code SPORTS10. Go to firstroundcollectibles.com today. Promo code SPORTS10 for 10% off your order. And Total Apex Sports, Total Apex Media, as always, shout out to them for having us on board. We appreciate it. With every single sport basically going now, basketball starts next week. That's your one-stop shop for everything, whether you're a degenerate like us, there's gambling talk, there's fantasy talk, or if you're a normal person and just want to learn about the games, they have that too. They have a health website, fitness, lifestyle, gaming, TV shows, whatever it is that you want to learn about, they have it. So Total Apex Sports and Total Apex Media. All right. Before we get into these specific series, Andre, you have not joined us yet on this show this postseason. Would love to know what was your kind of temperature heading into the postseason, whether it's predictions, what were you looking forward to, and how has that panned out now that we are like 3 weeks away from the World Series being awarded?
Yeah, I was looking forward to a lot of competitive heat and rivalries. With these matchups, we had Yankees, Red Sox, and Tigers, Guardians. Talking about the wild card series, obviously Brewers, Cubs, Dodgers, Phillies, Yankees, Blue Jays. I think there was supposed to be a lot of really heated competitive series. That's what I was really looking forward to. The bracket shook up really well for the most part, and kind of fell flat. It's kind of fell flat in my expectations. There was some, I'd say the AL wildcard rounds lived up to the hype, but the Dodgers wiped the floor with the Phillies. They're up 2-0 on the Brewers now and leading in the game. The Jays wiped the floor with the Yankees. Mariners Tigers was phenomenal. That was a phenomenal series.
Oh man.
As well, the Cubs Brewers also. It went 5 games. home team won each one, and it kind of felt that way the whole time, which isn't as exciting, but that was a pretty good series as well. But yeah, that going into the postseason, just looking at the bracket, there were a lot of great matchups lined up, and a lot of great matchups happened, but some of them, particularly Yankees, really tough.
Yeah, I mean, that's if I'm going to point to one like disappointment so far, it has to be like the Dodgers Phillies series, right? Like if you're just talking from like not a fan perspective, just someone who loves baseball and wants to watch, like Tom and I talked about it, like that series had to go 5 games and it barely made it to 4. Like it like did make it to 4, but it was just kind of like whatever. It didn't really matter.
Definition of a gentleman's sweep, right? They let him stick around to have. I mean, I don't know. Dodgers wanted one more home game's worth of gate revenue or something. I don't know what's going on there. It shocked me how non-competitive that series was.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk later, Andre, about the Yankees, just where the Yankees are at and what's going to happen later. But touching on that Blue Jays series, how did you feel about like the Blue Jays coming out of it? Like, did you feel it was more that the Yankees just had nothing, or did you feel better about the Blue Jays playing Seattle than you may have like before the postseason started?
I just think they executed better. I mean,
yeah.
Bottom line is, on paper, you'd say the Yankees had the pitching matchup advantages. Offensively, obviously, 2 great teams when it comes to scoring. Finished the season 1st and 3rd in runs. So, offensively, both great, bullpens weak. The bottom line is, the Jays hit Fried, the Jays hit Rodon, they hit Heel. The Yankees bullpen was obviously bad. Whereas the Blue Jays, Gosman wasn't the best at the end, especially, but got out of the jam. The bullpen got out of the jam. Savage, he did his thing. The bullpen game came together and worked. The offense put together consistently strong at bats, especially against the starting pitchers. The Jays did what they had to do. They averaged 9 runs per game in that series. That's, you can say part of it's the Yankees bullpen was weak, the Yankees starting pitchers sucked, whatever, and that's true. At the same time, the Blue Jays beat the Yankees all year long, and unlike the Red Sox, they also did it when it mattered. So it's a combination of both. We knew what the Yankees' weaknesses were, and we knew that the rotation wasn't at full strength. At the same time, going into it, if you just look at the pitching matchups on paper, you would think the Yankees win that series at 4, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that bullpen game, I mean, Tom and I talked about it. Like the fact that the Jays won the series as a Jays fan, obviously is awesome. But the fact that they did it, I said it on this show. I said, if the Jays lose game 3, this is going 5. Because there's no way that they survived the bullpen game, and they somehow pulled it off. On that note, Tom, 2-1. All right, the Jays come through in a huge way last night. It is kind of pissing me off in a weird, petty way that the Jays can't win 2-1. Like, close games just are not a part of this postseason DNA. Like, they haven't even. This is a great question. Have the Jays? They've played what, 6, 7 playoff games so far? Has one of them finished closer than 3 runs? I don't think so. I think all of their games have been blowouts one way or the other, no?
Aaron Judge kicked a field goal to bring that within a touchdown at the end of game 4 there. I mean, generally speaking, the games haven't been all
like the Jays' losses.
It's been a nice welcome reprieve from having to watch Jeff Hoffman every night.
But
Andre's a Yankees fan. That's Devin Williams' That's Canadian for Devin Williams. No, they haven't been close. This series, actually, for the first 3 games, the Mariners just kind of bled the Jays out over 9 innings in game 1. Game 2, they blew the doors off the Jays. Game 3, of course, we watched that last night. The Jays returned the favor. At some point, you would think, neutral observers would hope, at some point, that both teams will come and play a complete game. Maybe we could get some intrigue, some drama for more than an inning or 2. I know, Jays fans don't want that. Mariners fans don't want that. But anybody else, save anybody who has money on the series, sure would like to see the 2 top teams in the AL this year with pretty complete rosters, both come to play at the same time because they have proven themselves both to be really good teams this year. We haven't seen it yet. Maybe it'll be tonight.
So with that, going into tonight's game, because I don't know how to feel about this. I think like Castillo, he's a terrific pitcher when he's on. He was on my fantasy roster, which was great. And then I forgot that it's a keeper league and I traded him. And now I'm like, oh man, that was fairly stupid, but all of that doesn't matter. How are we feeling as a baseball guy, but you're also a Jays fan? How are we feeling about Max Scherzer tonight, man? Because I keep going back and forth about it. If you look at the stats, they do tell a certain story of how he's pitched this year. We have also seen games where he looked like the old Max Scherzer. And not the old Max Scherzer that he is, but like the old that he was. Yeah. And you got to think a gamer like that, someone who has been there, done that. As a Jays fan, I'm just like, dude, remember that like one good game you had back in August? Like let's do that again. He certainly has it in you. Once again, the pitching matchup, I wasn't pumped about the pitching matchup last night. Like George Kirby, like I don't even really know why. He is one of my like favorite pitchers to watch. I love watching him pitch when he's dialed in. I just love it. And he just didn't have it last night. Good thing for the Jays. And I mean, Bieber, after that first inning, it was like, oh man, here we go again. And he just completely settled in. Next time up, struck out the side, I believe. And then just kept rolling from there. How are we feeling tonight about this pitching matchup, man? Because like I have no doubt that if Scherzer can put together a quality start, this should be the game that can go like below the number, right? And can be a close 1-run game. I feel like all of the doubt when it comes to the pitching matchup is all on the Jays side of things.
Yeah, I mean, I think you brought up Luis Castillo for the Mariners. He's not the ace that he was 2 or 3 years ago, but he's still a pitcher anybody would want to have on the mound in this situation, right? The depth of their starting pitching is one of the clear strengths of their roster. Being able to throw Luis Castillo in Game 4, holy moly, right? That's an advantage. The Jays are starting Max Scherzer tonight. I had to look because it's been so long since we've seen him. He was awful in September, right? An ERA over 9. But we haven't seen him pitch since September 24th. That's a minute. I have no idea what to expect from him, but I do expect that this will be Max Scherzer and the kitchen sink game. That will be the approach from John Schneider from the Jays bullpen. Chris Bassett is on the roster. He hasn't been named starter for any of the upcoming games, so you got to think he's champing at the bit to get in there. You couldn't tell last night the way that the Jays bats were the way that the Jays were swinging their bats, but Seattle is a tough place to hit home runs. That has been what has got Max Scherzer in trouble. That is what briefly got Shane Bieber in trouble yesterday, and is typically what you look for in a bad start from Chris Bassett and really the entire Jays pitching staff. But yeah, if you're gonna throw fly ball pitchers anywhere, big parks in the marine layer is the safest bet, I guess. So I don't know. On paper, I think it's pretty obviously a big advantage for the Mariners today, but baseball's insane, man. We're in the middle of a crazy playoffs. We're at the end of a crazy season, and who knows?
Yeah, and I mean, like, to me, like, okay, I want to see Scherzer and Bassett for like most of this game. Like, I just feel like our bullpen is getting just like hung out to dry so much in this series. I just feel like this bullpen, they're just, every single pitcher is out there every night, and it's just too much. And we need a good long either start or co-start. And yeah, hoping for that tonight, because if Scherzer's out after 2.5, I don't know, man. That might be a tough look. Andre, how we feeling about this series so far?
I mean, I think you already, like, was talking about this game specifically. I think you already like hinted at it, right? Scherzer, he's not Scherzer anymore. Worst home run rate, hard hit rate of his career. I think like the third worst strikeout rate. Obviously, the ERA over 5, the FIP is 5, the WHIP is like 1.3. It's not great, and I think Schneider's just gonna try to get some outs out of him, as many as he can, squeeze it. You pray for the vintage Scherzer, and listen, he's a gamer, he's a competitor. He probably has it at him. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he just comes out roaring and throws 5, 6, 7 scoreless at the same time. The guy we've watched all year isn't the guy that's going to do that.
Yeah.
So I think you're just looking at this game, and you're, especially if you're Toronto, you're thinking we got to even up the series. 1, but 2, we got to get as many outs out of Scherzer as possible.
Yeah.
And which honestly, that might determine the series in itself. If Scherzer throws a great game, keeps the Jays in it, gives them a chance to win, saves the bullpen, gives them a little rest, evens up the series. It's anyone's game, because you're headed back to Toronto at that point, where hitting's much more friendly, and the Blue Jays were a much better team. Scherzer's 2025 Scherzer, it's not looking good. Not with that Mariners rotation, not with the way the Mariners are swinging the bat right now. And not with another game in Seattle, let alone going back to Toronto where they beat you twice.
Yeah, 100%. Tom, I know that you have to run. Before you do, give us a quick outlook on the Dodgers and Milwaukee, and where are we at with the future of your beloved Milwaukee Brewers? I know they're a very close second to your heart to the Blue Jays. How are we feeling? It's looking grim. And to me, it's just, all the superstar talent that the Dodgers have. Like, their pitching is just insane when it comes to the rotation. I just don't know how the Brewers come back from this.
Yeah, it's the Death Star, right? That was one of the biggest stories at the beginning of the year, people talking about how Major League Baseball needs a salary cap to rein in the LA Dodgers. That storyline died away a little bit as their pitchers all took their customary 90-day R&R breaks over the course of the regular season. But now you see them all back. And it's a Star Wars movie. The Brewers did just tie it up in the top of the second here as this game happens live while we come to you on the podcast. But yeah, the first 2 games of this series, obviously the Brewers got away from their approach offensively. A lot of first pitch swinging, not a lot of patience. The aggressiveness kind of got away from them a little bit and just made life easier on the Dodgers than it needed to be. And then here we are in game 3 back in Los Angeles. It's not over, right? Jacob Mizorowski is now on the mound for them. They started Aaron Ashby again, and what was a planned bullpen game. He got 1 out. And yeah, so if Miz can go 4 or 5, maybe they cut the lead to 2-1. I don't know. It's been a great season for them. I hope Pat Murphy has some pancakes later. And yeah, my thoughts really on this series are it's pretty much, well, it's not done yet, right?
Yeah, 100%. It is done. Tom, thank you so much for hanging out with me, man. Sorry it was kind of a shorter.
Andre.
Yeah.
And we will
We'll
do
see
this
you next
again
time.
very soon, eh?
Yes, sir.
All right. Peace.
All right, thanks, Tom. And then there were two. Andre, once again, man, it's good to see you. So just to wrap up the Toronto Blue Jays conversation. So we didn't really dive too deep into it. I think for me, because I want to play a little game, and it's because like understanding that right now the Brewers are currently playing game 3. So in like 2 hours, this specific conversation won't really matter one way or the other because we'll kind of know what's going on. As of right now, the Brewers are plus 1140 to come back to win this series, while the Dodgers are minus 2,000. Now, those numbers are going to change dramatically one way or the other with this game, right? While the Blue Jays are plus 205 and Seattle is minus 250. I obviously understand Seattle being favored. Toronto being like minus 250 though seems a tiny bit rich to me. I think what is impressive about this team for me, and why the only thing that's just concerned me about going down 2-0, and a lot was talked about with how like the Mariners, literally all their pitchers pitched Friday night, right? Like every single one. And if the Jays were going to win one, it had to be game 1. And that was not the case. Game 2, not the case. And they were able to pull it out last night. I think what is hard for me to separate is the fact that, you know, the guys that have been like on this team for previous playoff, like not last year, but the 2 seasons before, George Springer and Vladdy and this, they have not been Toronto playoff performers. We all know George Springer, what he did in Houston, and of course all of that has a huge like question mark beside it now. But for me, that's what's been so big here is like Vladdy. Like I remember back when they signed him and gave him that crazy contract, a lot of people were not happy about it. Because what has he done? Like to make this money. I was happy about it because I was certain that the Blue Jays were going to suck for a long time, and I at least want like somebody that I can watch and like maybe make me happy. And he's been every bit worth the money so far, and the contract hasn't even started yet.
Yeah. I don't know. Who are you going to complain about a 1479 OPS in the postseason? Because I'm not. Like, yeah. Springer especially, like I feel like his whole tenure with Toronto has been really rocky. You probably know more about that than me, but between the injuries, for the most part, hasn't hit very well. Basically, the DH at this point exclusively. Yeah, it hasn't been the greatest postseason by him, but you know he's hitting well. He's hitting over 250. He has a few bombs, right? And that's what you kind of need. You know, put some pressure in front of Vladdy because Vladdy's doing his thing right now, and when he's hot, he's one of those guys where you're not going to get him out. And what can't be overstated, they're doing this. They've been doing this without Bo Bichette.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah. So I don't know. Postseasons never go the way you plan them, right? They never go by the script. You got to roll with the punches. You got to take the victories you didn't expect to get or you weren't supposed to get, and you just got to make it work, right? Every team in the postseason, every MLB team in the postseason, I should say, is going to have a rough offensive night. The pitchers got to step up. Every once in a while, your pitchers aren't going to do their thing, and your offense has to put up a crooked number. And if they're not going to win, they got to at least burn some pitchers on the other team, give them a better chance the next day. So Toronto's done an excellent job of that, especially offensively, of just working the pitch count, getting runs across anyway, anyhow. Especially again, they won Game 3 yesterday. They were down early. This is a team that was significantly worse on the road all season long. The Blue Jays had a phenomenal home record, and they had an ugly road record. But they win to Seattle, Pitchers Park, like Tom said, just mashed. They made it look small. It's what you got to do. You got to find ways, and their guys are finding ways. Even they're ignoring the past. They're ignoring this isn't the team that lost the wild card series 3 times in 4 years or whatever it was. This is a team that finished, with the best record in the AL. This is the team that beat the defending AL champs when everyone was picking against them in the DS, So they're down 2-0 after 2 home games. You think they're dead in the water, and they're not, because that's not how they work. It's not how the postseason works. So they're a good team. They're going to keep fighting. And if their guys keep doing what they're supposed to do, which for the most part they have this postseason, they've got a few more games left.
Yeah, it's so funny to talk about Bo Bichette, man, because I heard some guy today on the radio and Toronto, like, we just can't help ourselves. I think it's like the hockey market where we have to just say like weird things to create conversation. But like, I heard someone today say that, if they make it to the World Series and Bo Bichette's healthy, like, do you really want to add him in and like, mix up the chemistry? It's like, dude, stop it with that. Yes. He's one of the best consistent hitters in baseball. Yes, I want him in the lineup. Yes. The guy who's basically over 300 for the last 3 seasons. Yes, I want him in the lineup. Thank you. And I think like heading into, and I'm sure a lot of people might not believe me when I say this, but I really genuinely did think that they were going to beat the Yankees. And the reason why is this team, like, it cannot be overstated how like nothing this team was supposed to be. Like, this team was supposed to be awful. You might actually know this like verbatim. I can't remember the exact number, but I'm pretty sure their total was like 74 and a half or 77 and a half, or it was something like low. Like it was low, like 70s for sure. And
yeah, I don't remember the exact number. It was definitely below 80. And I feel like a lot of people had them 4th or 5th in the division. Like them and the Rays were not supposed to be. You never know with the Rays, but the Blue Jays were supposed to be like, this is not the AL East team this year. Like,
oh yeah, because they've just been the exact same team for the last like 3 years, and they literally did absolutely nothing to change the roster. And last year, what we've been watching for the last few seasons finally was like resulted in missing the playoffs. And they like, this team was supposed to be nothing, but all year long we've been watching them just be clutch pitching, clutch hitting, and they've been playing well against the Yankees all season long. And so now that we've had our like moment, and the grand slam and the home run in game 1 and all these moments, the young like pitching protege putting up 12 Ks and all this stuff happening, it just, the first 2 games really felt like the Blue Jays that we've watched for the last couple years. It just really did. It just felt all too familiar, and to watch that bounce back last night was a really beautiful thing to watch. So before we move on, Toronto plus 205, Milwaukee plus 1140. I know this is a really stupid game as I say it out loud, but who are we giving the best chance to? I don't think tonight is a complete, like, okay, let's put it this way. Let's make this game less ridiculous. If Milwaukee wins tonight and it's 2-1 tomorrow morning, we wake up, or I guess when the game's over. All right, let me start fresh here. I'm really butchering this. When the game is over and Milwaukee wins tonight, if that happens, and then the Jays game starts, both teams are down 2-1. Who has the better chance to go to the World Series?
Yeah, you're not going to like this. I think even now, middle of game 3 tied in LA, 2-0 series in the Dodgers' favor. I think Milwaukee's in better shape right now.
Interesting.
And I don't think it's a good shape. I really, Luis Castillo, and it's not Safeco anymore, was it T-Mobile? He's so good in that park. You talk about his pitching splits, and obviously 2025 Scherzer we talked about a lot, and I just don't feel good about the Blue Jays tonight. Very strongly do not feel good about the Blue Jays tonight, to the point where I almost in my head feel like they're down 3-1. And at that point you're facing elimination. You gotta win out against the phenomenal pitching staff, and you don't even have a starter lined up for tomorrow on the road. Whereas I look at the Brewers, as you know, they dig into the plate against Tyler Glasnow here. They can get it to 2-1 right where the Blue Jays are right now. And I think their pitching's in better shape. Just overall, this postseason, talk about rotation, talk about bullpen, maybe not the way they've been performing. Even though I think they're performing better, but I think Milwaukee right now, same odds, knowing that they could be down 3-0 in like 2 hours. I'd say Milwaukee has a better chance of going to the World Series than Toronto.
Yeah, and I just think Milwaukee, they're just always overlooked. Like, they've been one of the best teams in baseball, like, year after year after year, and it's Milwaukee. And like, they have good players, but not like, super duper stars. And so it just kind of feels really easy to just kind of write them off. But yeah, I don't think, obviously they have to win tonight, but if they can get like this one, because that's the thing with the Jays, man. And also shout out some guy in Toronto, throwing out a bunch of comments in the chat here. We appreciate it, man. Captain Kirk's bat is going to go off tonight. Watch, remember this comment, dude. His bat's been going off not only the whole year, but the whole postseason, man. Kirk, and I think, sorry, I got to bring this back to Toronto real quick. I think what you're talking about, some guy, is like choosing Kirk over Marino, over Jansen, bringing in Varsho for the 2 studs that you gave up to bring him in. Like, it has not been good. Like, Varsho offensively for the last 2 seasons has been a liability. He just has. And this year, like we talked about this, Tom and I did last year, Ross Atkins and Andre, you know how much I love Ross Atkins. He looked all of us in our faces and said, I believe we're going to go to the World Series next year. And I refuse to believe that he believed that. I refuse. And I, like, the petty side of me, I want the Jays to win, but I want Varsho to be bad. I want Kirk to be bad. I want these guys that Ross Atkins has brought in to be bad. I want just like Vladdy and Bo to just like do it by themselves. Obviously, Bo's hurt. But it's like, man, I can't. Giving Ross Atkins credit is it's a hard thing to do. All right, so for tonight, you're on the Mariners then.
Spoiler, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think that's what I was saying. That's the thing with Milwaukee why I don't agree with you in the sense that I just think the Dodgers they're just the Dodgers, man. Like I just think they're the Dodgers. I know that's really profound. It's a very profound, wise stat that I'm throwing at you. The one thing that I would point to for the Brewers is just the pitching. Like the Blue Jays pitching's terrifying. Like there is one guy that I feel confident in every time he goes up. And that's Gosman. Every time Gosman pitches, I feel confident. Now he has bad games like everyone does, but if Gosman's pitching, I'm not worried about it. I think honestly, it's a shame that Barrios hasn't been healthy. I think he's healthy now, but he hasn't pitched in forever. I know he hasn't had the best year, but the last time he came to the postseason with the Jays, he was pitching a gem, and John Schneider pulled him out in like the fourth inning, and it caused like the whole city to burn down. But like the pitching for the Blue Jays is it's 50-50. Like winning the lottery and the success of the Blue Jays bullpen, there's not like too much of a difference. All right, let's move on. I want to talk about the Yankees before we wrap up the show, Andre. But before we do, just because we haven't had a chance to really talk about this on the show, and I know there are 2 series going on right now, I feel like we've given them some good time. How should we be feeling about the Philadelphia Phillies? Basically, the rest of the show is just going to be negative. That's basically how this show is going to go. How are we feeling? How should we feel about the Phillies? Because you know me with my Philadelphia sports, but it feels like we're at like a crossroads here, and I'm not too sure which direction it's going to go.
Yeah, this was supposed to be the year for them, right? Many free agents, they're getting older. Obviously, all the star power is still there, and it burst in flames and combusts very spectacularly. Almost, honestly, kind of mimics the Embiid-Simmons pairing in just the way they fizzled out against the Hawks. Just spectacular meltdown where you want to feel bad for them, but it's Philly, so you also kind of want to laugh at them. I think moving forward, they'll be fine. As far as making the playoffs, they should still be a playoff contender, for the next few years, especially with the additional added slot. The Mets are going to be tough. The Braves, you don't expect this year to be the norm for them. They're going to be tough. The Marlins were a little feisty. I don't know if that was just the thing the Marlins do every once in a while where they're just a thorn in everyone's side, or if they're actually on the upswing. Yeah, but they should be fine. They should be wild card team, depending on if the Mets can keep it glued together, depending on if the Braves can stay healthy, fighting for that division title for the next few years at least. But if you're looking at them as title contenders, I think that's gone.
Yeah.
Maybe next year, but how many times can you say that? The 2022 team wasn't supposed to get there, and they did. And then the 2023 team was supposed to win it all, and they lost to a group of chaotic snakes. And then since then, what have they done? It seems like the window's shut, and they're not one of those teams like. It's going to sound narcissistic. They're not one of those teams like the Yankees or the Dodgers, or where they can just put it together after a down year, come back stronger, and just get there. They haven't shown that or proven that really. The 2000s Phillies teams, they steadily progressed up. They won the World Series in 08, and they steadily progressed down. It was like NLDS, NLCS, win it all, lose the World Series, losing the CS, losing the DS, miss the playoffs for 8 straight years. And the Phillies historically, I know the future hasn't been written yet, but historically the Phillies have been a really, really, really bad franchise. So it sucks. Again, like you can say maybe next year they come back, they pull a 2022 and get there when nobody expects them to. But the history of the Phillies and all the guys they look like they're about to lose, or at least they're going to have to dish out a lot of money for and thin out the roster elsewhere. It's not looking great, especially since the Dodgers, again, they have the Death Star fully operational. It looks like for the next few years, the Mets have a dynamic duo in Lindor and Soto. Even if they have issues, the Braves, at least on paper, have a really dynamic, solid core.
The Braves will be back. The Braves will be back.
So the Phillies aren't in the greatest shape, but again, added wild card team, they have enough talent, they can still fight for that. And once you get in, you just got to win. So
yeah. I don't know what it is. You mentioned the Marlins. I don't know why. I always want them to do well. Like, do you have that with certain sports where there's just one random team that you just cheer for?
Yeah.
Like, you're not a fan, but you just whenever you see the Marlins, you're like, I want this team to win. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. It's the Miami Vice colors they got going on now or what. I have no idea. I don't even know if they'll ever be good again, but for whatever reason, they're like the Cleveland Browns for me. I always root for the Browns for some reason. I just want them to do well. I don't know what it is. All right. Moving on. I wish Tom was here for this conversation, simply just to watch and just be here for it. The New York Yankees, we have been doing shows as we've been able to throughout the postseason. We haven't spent a bunch of time on here. I have been harassed on here by a couple random Yankees fans on YouTube, which has been fun. I literally said that if the Jays don't win game 3, then it's going to 5. And a Yankees fan proceeded to berate me. I find this really fascinating, man. Like the cockiness of the fan base heading into this series, and now what has felt like free falling afterwards. You are a Yankees fan. I feel like I've known you for quite a few years now. I feel like you're more level-headed than most, at least on the outside. Maybe it's a mirage. Maybe you're just putting it on. How are you feeling about this Yankees team, man? And I think, would it have been okay? This is a question. I think the obvious answer would be yes, but I don't think it's actually that simple for a team like the Yankees. Would the feeling be different if they lost a 2-1 game in game 5 than the way that the series went? Because I almost feel like for the Yankees, losing is just losing, and it doesn't really matter how you get there.
I mean, yeah. In Yankee land, it's World Series or bust, so it doesn't really matter if it was, we lost to the Rays in 2020. That game was 2-1 or 3-2 or something like that. Brasso hit that homer in the 8th, whatever. It hurts the same as losing 5-2 in game 4 at home. It hurts the same as getting swept in 2022 by the Astros. Honestly, it hurts the same as game 5 of the World Series last year. You fell short. You weren't the Yankees, and you need to be the Yankees. I need to refer you to a tweet real quick before I forget that I made. I believe it was last season, back when I was logged in to Twitter and used it. The Boone era Yankees will never hurt me again. They're a social experiment. I stand by that. I want this team to win it all. I root for them, but just the way they're run, and it starts all the way at the top with Hal Steinbrenner, and it trickles down. It's just not a championship organization anymore. That's the sad reality of it. And they can feel free to prove me wrong. I'll be at the parade. I'll be rooting for you. I'll get some gear, but you haven't proven me wrong. And I've felt that way for pretty much this entire decade. talking about the 2020s at least. So, yeah, I wouldn't say I'm melting down. I think looking at the Yankees for next year, they're in pretty good shape. And we can touch on that later. But at the end of the day, we were tied for the best record in the American League. Despite all the funkiness of it, all the injuries and the annual Boonian slump where they look like a bottom 5 team in baseball, they still managed to win 94 games and match the best record in the AL. And 94 wins, you expect more than that from the Yankees. You expected the top seed, especially going into this season. Before all the injuries going into the spring, you would have said the Yankees are the Tigers in the 1 seed. So, they fell short of some expectations. And they fell short of the ultimate expectation when, I guess, again, on paper, you would think they can make it to the ALCS and they can probably beat the Seattle team. But it's not played on paper. It's played on the field, and they didn't do the job. At some point, they need to shut up and just do the damn job.
Some guy in Toronto. By the way, man, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight, man. Really appreciate it. A Yankees fan. That man needs to surrender his Canadian passport at the closest Canadian embassy or consulate immediately. I will vouch for my guy, Andre. He is not a Canadian citizen. He is currently on foreign soil. To him, it's just normal soil. To us, it's foreign. Yeah, so it's okay. Some guy in Toronto. He is genuinely one of them. So what's next, man? Like, our I think that we've gotten past, like, their season was over last week. Time has passed. It feels like this desire to do the knee-jerk reaction and fire the manager, it feels like that's kind of subsided. What is it that has to change? Is it as simple as this team as constructed just needs to play better? Or is there like something tangible and dramatic that they have to do?
Well, first of all, the fire Boone train has years of evidence behind it. So I don't want that written down like next to my name on my tombstone, honestly. But I don't know. The team.
If you okay, you're in your 20s. If you die 60 years from now, let's say that you live a life going into the 80s, right? We won't get too generous with it, but generous enough. That's like 60 years from now. You want that on your tombstone in 60 years?
If he manages for half of that 60, then I honestly might. And it's looking that way right now. Yeah. Maybe. This guy's tortured. Maybe just he has a lot of real estate in my head. Maybe he just needs to earn it permanently.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's next? What do we feel?
Well, the changes that need to happen aren't going to happen. It's too high up, too much money involved, too much pride. So we're going to leave all that alone. Talk about what Cashman, he's going to have his job again. And Boone, he's going to have his job again. What they need to do. It's pretty simple, really. The rotation should be healthier, should be strong. We went this whole season without Cole. We got a handful of starts from Clark Schmidt. Luis Hill only pitched the second half. Those were 3 guys that were supposed to be in our everyday rotation entering the season. Fried and Rodon both had all-star years. So I think those 5, Cam Schlittler, Will Warren, whatever they end up doing with him, moving to the bullpen. You got starting pitching, you got depth, and you look at those guys, that's a pretty good rotation, right?
Yeah. Garrett Cole comes back healthy.
Yeah. So, I mean, and the beauty of it is Cole doesn't even need to come back as Cy Young level Garrett Cole. Fried and Rodon can be the 1 and 2. He can, there's less pressure on him.
Yeah.
Schlittler, limited sample size, he's looked pretty good. Luis Hill, he gets the walks down, he's good. The rotation's in good shape. That's the backbone of a roster, right? This year, it was patchwork for most of it, and they still managed 94 wins. So right off the bat, I'm looking at next year's Yankees like, rotation stays healthy or healthier, should be a 90-plus win team again. That's a good start.
Yeah.
That gets you in the playoffs with 6 teams. The infield, the left side's not blowing you away with the bats, but the infield solidified for the first time in what feels like forever. We did enter 2024 without a true everyday third baseman. Ryan McMahon's bat, it's not the prettiest. A full year in Yankee Stadium might make him more productive. But he's a gold glove caliber guy. Infield defense, very important for this team. Defense in general is very important for this team. I don't even need to refer, like, it was less than a year ago when they melted down in front of everyone. So you got that. Shortstop, Volpe, or he's going to be hurt probably at the beginning of the year. So Caballero, I wouldn't be surprised if they trade for a guy. It's looking fine. Jazz is an all-star second baseman. Ben Rice, right now, is the first baseman. He rakes. That might be a position where they try to upgrade or trade or whatever. But for right now, infield looks pretty good. Austin Wells' bat hasn't lived up to the hype, but he's a great framer. He has some pop. They're probably going to get a veteran catcher. I think behind the dish, you want a little bit more offensively, but you're happy with what you got, especially because he receives and calls games so well. So you look at that, and then the infield in particular has depth, with Caballero and Oswaldo Cabrera, particularly on the bench, utility guys that can really move around, do dynamic things, add some energy when the starters aren't playing. So you look at that, okay, it's pretty good. The outfield, obviously, you have Aaron Judge, gold glove caliber when he's in right, best hitter on the planet right now. He's the guy. Stanton at DH, if you get 100 games out of him, that's great. He's a masher too. They're probably going to give Dominguez a shot at being an everyday outfielder next year. One of Bellinger or Grisham, I imagine they try to bring back. But the outfield is somewhere where they probably add a piece or two. Bellinger coming back would be lovely for a lot of reasons. He's a lefty. He hits lefties really well. Great defender at all 3 outfield positions. Can play first base. So Bellinger, I think, is target A. In an outfield of Bellinger, Dominguez, Judge, offensively it's fine. Defensively, Dominguez might be a bit of a scare, but he has more time to grow. Learning that he's still young. So yeah, the real work is the most volatile market, and it's going to be very interesting to see what the Yankees do. It's obviously the bullpen. It was a mess all year long. And you can say, oh, just sign the biggest name guy, or trade for Mason Miller or whatever. We traded for Devin Williams last year, and he got booed off the mound for most of the season. Luke Weaver closed for a World Series team less than a year ago.
Yeah.
And last week, every time he stepped on the mound, Yankees fans were thinking, we're just throwing the game away. The bullpen's volatile. And there's not an easy fix. No, Bednar and Cruz, they proved something. They were fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
They're good to go. They're solidified. I'm pretty sure the team picked up Tim Hill's option. And unsung hero, but he gets the job done for the most part. That's only 3 guys. You need more than that. I imagine Will Warren probably starts the year in the bullpen. If his stuff plays up, that's good, but how are they going to add? Where are they going to add? Are they going to sign a big free agent? Are they going to try another trade? Even after Devin Williams just flat out didn't work for most of the year. It's a huge question. I can't say I have the answers for it. But the bullpen's obviously the thing that needs the most work. The beauty of it is the bullpen's probably the cheapest and easiest thing to get arms for, or to get players for. Because you can just call guys up. You can, we have starting rotation depth. We can just bring a guy up or send a guy into the pen and not have him stretched out to be a starter for the time being. Like, there are options, there are Band-Aids. At the same time, as many games the bullpen cost the Yankees in 2024, the fact that it flat out cost them the 1 seed in the AL, you can trickle down to saying that cost them the ALDS and cost them their season if you wanted to. That needs to be addressed big time. So that's priority number one. Outfield, adding an outfielder or two. It's priority number two. I think the rest of the team is in pretty good shape. And knowing Cashman, though, there's going to be a big trade coming because it seems like every offseason he pulls off some big trade. Doesn't always work. Shout out Devin Williams. But there will be a big trade.
So for a Yankees fan, they would probably roll their eyes at this question because I feel like all you guys know the answer to this. But for somebody like myself who's engaged enough with baseball, but I'm not, learning about the Yankees every day. If you're telling me that you've been on the Fire Boone train for years now and he's not fired, you are a very smart baseball guy. You've covered the sport. This is what you think. Why aren't they firing him? And let me just say this too. You and I did a hockey show together for years, and you know how I feel about this. I think the fact that every time there is a letdown in a season and a coach gets fired, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The shelf life that coaches have. The NHL, I thought, was the worst for a long time, and I feel like it's trickling into every sport now where it's like just automatically fire the coach. So I want to see coaches and managers have time to grow with their team. So I'm not advocating for anything, but I'm just curious what your thought is. Why won't they fire the coach when it seems like a consensus that it should probably happen? Or manager.
Why they won't? I think the most obvious is the players love him. He sticks up for him. He is a great shield for him.
That's true.
Because all their
definitely a player's coach for sure.
All their blunders and flaws that we know are on the players, we direct towards Boone because he says something stupid in the press to stick up for him. So he's a great shield. The players love him. And Judge in particular, I'm pretty sure, loves him. So that's number one, obviously. Number two, it's a symbiotic relationship with the GM, which you see a lot in MLB these days, where it's, the front office is telling you the lineups to play, the guys to use, whatever. And he doesn't have that much flexibility in making the everyday lineup. So we can sit there and say, like, why are you making this decision? I'm not sure if he's the one making that decision. I think that goes deeper into my issue with the team, which starts with Hal Steinbrenner,
yes,
and trickles all the way down. He's not committed to using the Yankees resources to their full potential and being a championship team. He's content with being a cut costs where he can make the playoffs every year, try to run the table team, which I don't agree with. So I think that's part of the reason. Boone's a symptom. He's not the cause. So, I think you look at what he can control, the things he does every day with this team, baffling bullpen decisions. That's been happening for years. Every year since 2020, there's large stretches where they're playing like a bottom five team in baseball and look just straight up unmotivated. The lack of accountability you see with certain errors, or I guess the inconsistency with accountability on top of that, depending on which player makes the error or doesn't hustle or whatever. There's a lot of things. I don't think it's all on Boone. I think it's more Yankees culture. And I think it's part of the reason they're not firing him. They're perfectly happy with what they are. They're perfectly happy with his role of absorbing the brunt of the media. And the players aren't clamoring for him to go. And I will say, we're spoiled. Yankees fans are spoiled, right? Aaron Boone has a phenomenal all-time win-loss record. Like, it might be top 10 ever. I'm not sure if you're talking about win percentage or top 20. I don't know. He's won games. He's won a lot of games. Yankees still have not had a losing season for 33 years or whatever. And a lot of teams would kill for that. So I understand that the sky is falling for Yankees fans, and the sky is falling for everyone else. At the same time, we're the freaking New York Yankees. And this guy has had a lot of loaded teams. And he's put the team in some really bad positions when it mattered. And he's not righted the ship mid-season for some very long slumps, and it's cost the team seeding in several playoffs. I can think about, off the top of my head, this year. I can think about 2022, 2021, we barely made the playoffs, and that team was miserable for a long time. 2020, they didn't win the division, and they had players flat out saying, like, yeah, we were coasting through the year. Granted, it was a shortened season, but still, and with 8 teams making the playoffs, but still. Why aren't you guys, giving their best every day? Why aren't they motivated every day? Why is it costing us playoff seeding? Why is it costing us games? Why is it costing us postseason series?
Yeah, I mean, the one part of that I can relate to is the, people not in the dugout, like making decisions for you, and how you manage your team. That drives me insane. I'm surprised. I was surprised after last season for the Blue Jays that John Schneider came back. And we saw that not last season, obviously, but in the 2 playoff runs before, where, like Barrios, I talked about earlier, like no hit through 4 1/3, and it's the 3rd time through the lineup, so we have to take the pitcher out. Like stuff like that drives me insane. But yeah, man, super interesting stuff. Yeah, and I do love from afar just watching fan bases like this. And listen, man, we're the Toronto, like the New York Yankees in a lot of ways are the Toronto Maple Leafs of the hockey world in a lot of ways, where except the Jays or the Leafs have not gotten to the Stanley Cup final ever in like 2 generations. But yeah, man, super interesting. Speaking of hockey, we're going to wrap up the show. Gonna let you go. So good seeing you, having you back. And we're going to have you between this show, football, hockey, basketball's coming up soon. I'm going to bother you to come on a lot. So hopefully you say yes from time to time. Heading into the hockey season, man, how are we feeling about your Rangers? And what are we looking at heading into the season? Just a couple minutes. What's some storylines that you're keeping an eye on heading into the season? And how do we feel about your Rangers? You can't escape the drama, dude. Like between the Giants and the Yankees and the Rangers, it's a lot to deal with, bro. And I hope that you're seeing someone.
Well, first of all, I'm proud of you. You avoided the Giants for most of the show after we beat your Eagles last week. So
you just curb stomped us, man. There's no way around it. I just one sec. Some guy in Toronto, thank you, man. I appreciate that so much. I really do appreciate it. We get a lot of traction on Twitter, so to see some love on YouTube is huge, man. So thank you so much. And yes, stay tuned for our unscheduled shows that we just do randomly throughout the week. So thank you, man. Appreciate it. All right, Andre, back to you.
Yeah, so the Rangers, it's weird. I don't know. I got used to the same core for so long, right? When you're talking about the skaters, it's kind of weird. So many new faces, so many old faces, a returning face becoming the captain. We named the captain who doesn't have Ryan in his name immediately. Like who? Yeah. This is the Rangers. Like JT Miller, a year after we trade our captain. There's no there's no delay in naming him. His middle name's not Ryan. It's not Ryan Miller. I don't know who this team is. Going in to the season, I would have said this year would have been about redemption in a lot of ways. I guess turning a new page, because the Gallant and Laviolette years were successful and also ugly. Beautiful, beautiful chaos, beautiful disaster. I think that's a better way to say it. But now the season's underway. We're about to beat Toronto tonight because we're monsters on the road. I'd like to see this team score at home.
Nothing. That's fine. That's fine. No big deal.
I'd like to see this Rangers team score a goal at home. That's what I'd like to see.
Oh, my goodness.
I'd like to see them lace up their skates in the Garden, go out there, hit the back of the net, give the fans something to cheer. I haven't heard the goal song all year long. Are you kidding me? 3 games? You can't score once? One of them was against the Penguins. Give me a break.
Yeah. What's hilarious about that, Andre, is that, like, okay, I just feel like the Rangers over the last couple of years have just found new ways to just, like, bother you. Like, if you're 0-3 to start the year, or 0-4, or, 1-5 or whatever, it's like, oh man, not the start we wanted, but no, they couldn't even just lose 3 games at home. They have to get shut out in 3 straight home games. Like, they can't just, like, not be that great. They have to just, like, put, like, whipped cream on that somehow. Not the good kind of whipped cream, whatever that means. Low fat, I suppose. Yeah, that's a tough way to start the home schedule, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's more frustrating because they scored 10 goals in their 2 away games. Yeah, I'm glad they won. I'm glad they won. I'm glad they looked phenomenal defensively, and obviously Igor, the brick wall, to bring that back. But 0, 0, 0, 0. Like, none. Like, you couldn't even, like, think about how many bad teams we talked about the past couple of years, like the Sharks, the Blackhawks.
I know.
Like, how many awful teams we talked about every single day, and they would get shut out once or twice in a row, and they'd score a goal, shut out, and score 2 goals, get shut out, score. But they scored. The San Jose Sharks were scoring. The Chicago Blackhawks, shamelessly tanking Chicago Blackhawks, were scoring, especially at home. Both those teams are better at home. So why did the Rangers just go, I'm not gonna score at home. We're gonna allow 1 goal. We're gonna allow 2 goals, and we're not gonna score anything. So it's not even gonna look like, it's not even gonna be a close game, because even our defense is playing well. They're skating well. Even though Igor is still that guy, we're not gonna hit the back of the net. We're not gonna put any tension into the game, any excitement. You're just gonna sit in your expensive seats, your Chase Club seats, and you're gonna drink your $20 Michelob Ultra. Give me a break, man.
Dude, it's so funny that you talk about those teams. So I watched, what game did I waste my time watching the other night?
Was it Chicago last night, stomping St. Louis?
No. I watched a little bit of that game. No, I turned on the Calgary, Utah game, which was actually a pretty good game. But no, it was a couple nights ago, Pittsburgh and Anaheim. That game, I know, like, Anaheim is going to be a good team this year. Are they a playoff team? I don't know. Probably not. But they're going to be competitive. And we saw that the back half of last season. And I think we're going to continue to see them be competitive. So I'm not putting the Ducks at, like, the bottom of the barrel with like those teams. But it was, like, the best, like, bad game that I can remember watching in so long. Like, both teams were just super sloppy, missed passes all over the place, turnovers. It was brutal, and it was a lot of fun to watch. Like, really fun. Like, we've talked about it over the years. Like, when the Islanders are, like, bad, their games are, like, super boring, right? Yeah. But that game was, like, a lot of fun to watch. Was it the Sharks and the Ducks that was, like, 7-6, and the Sharks are just, like, scoring 5 goals every game, like, but losing? Like, it's just, like, these bad teams have gotten good enough to be really fun even when they lose. So what were your expectations for the Rangers? I actually, and I'm not like poking fun, I actually genuinely want to know this because, you know, covering the league and trying to get like, you know, predictions and trying to get feel last season threw me off so badly. Like, I don't know where that President's Trophy team is in all of this. Because yes, like they lost some players, but a lot of them are like there still. Where are we talking? Like, are they like a wild card team now? Are they in the top 3 with the division? Are they just bad now? Like, what was your expectation heading into the season?
Definitely not bad. My expectation was make the playoffs. I think for me personally, I'd like to see them top 3 in the Metro again. I think the talent's there. Obviously, it starts with Igor staying healthy for most of the season. But I think the talent's there where they can be a top 3 team. I think Carolina is the top dog in the Metro. But I think they're on par with Washington and Jersey. I think that trifecta should make the last 2 spots in the Metro portion of the division standings. So, yeah, I'd say expectations were make the playoffs, win a playoff series again. Maybe that's a little lofty after last year, but I'd like to see the team make the playoffs, win a series, at least one series. For sure. I think top 3 in the Metro. If I were a player, I'd want to be the best team to win it all. I think I'd like to see the team be the 2 seed in the Metro. That might be a little bit lofty. I think 3 is more realistic, or one of those wildcard spots is definitely more realistic. But I think they're capable of being 2 in the Metro. It just starts with scoring goals at home, first of all. But no, especially the way they've played.
That's crazy, dude. That is crazy that they haven't scored at home yet. That is.
Yeah. Never happened before either. I do think though, like I'm really liking what I've seen defensively and obviously in net from this team so far. And that can get you very far, even if your offensive talent isn't the greatest, even if your expectations aren't the greatest. You can drag teams down into those low scoring games. You're going to have a lot of chances to pick up points, even if it's not pretty. So I'm encouraged by the early results. I would say going into the season, expectations were playoffs, return to the playoffs for sure. I think some goals I would have liked to see were win a playoff series and finish top 3 in the Metro.
Yeah, it's hard, right? Joe, what up, bro? You've reached the hockey portion of the baseball show. Because it was inevitable to happen at some point in time. Yeah, like this is the highest that I've been on Carolina in a while. I don't think they've done anything to put themselves into like the cup. Like they're going to be cup contenders, but when we're like realistically, we talk about like the conference final. I still don't know what they've done to kind of put themselves over the top and go to the finals. I don't see that really for them, but I think as far as the regular season goes, I think this is the Canes' division to lose. I also think that Washington is going to clearly regress. Last year, everything went right last year, and I just feel like they went from being the worst playoff team that I've ever seen into one of the best teams in the league. It's not going to go all the way back down to the bottom, but I am there with you that like I would expect the Capitals to drop off. The real curious part for me when it comes to this division is the Devils. That's another team that I don't know what to make of them. I don't. Like Markstrom's out again. He's hurt again, and he's out. And like Jake Allen's a really good backup. I have no problem with that, but I mean, you need Markstrom to be legit. Can Jack Hughes play a full season for the love of God? Can that guy stay healthy? I think there's that the door is definitely open for you guys to do something, because I just don't. And aside from that, dude, like Pittsburgh, Philly, Islanders, that Schaefer kid is a lot of fun to watch. He's a really good player. And the Islanders, I think the Islanders are going to be fun this year, Andre. Believe it or not, I think they're actually going to be fun this year. But yeah, it'll be interesting. What's that?
It's blasphemy.
No, I know. But I think, listen, man, Lou Lamoriello's gone. There's a new leaf or whatever. I don't know. It'll be interesting to watch for sure. Andre, thank you so much for hanging out, man. Yeah, it was really great to have you back, and it's been a minute. So to everybody watching on X, the one person on YouTube, but everyone else on X, thank you guys so much for hanging out, whether on Total Apex Twitter account or on my Twitter account. I really appreciate it. We'll be back next Wednesday with the football show. Joe and I will be back at some point in time. We'll be back talking baseball. Also, the basketball season starts next week. We will have a win total preview show at some time before tip off. So just stay tuned to here. And then we'll get more hockey shows cooking at some point as well. Before we let you go, remind everybody, firstrundcollectibles.com, promo code sports10 for 10% off any card you want in the entire First Round Collectibles store. They have an ongoing sale up to 60%, up to 50% off selected cards in the store, and with our promo code, you get 10% off of regular price and sales price items. That's up to 60% off selected cards. Go to firstrundcollectibles.com today, promo code sports10, and Total Apex Media, Total Apex Sports. Shout out to them, as always, for having us on board. Andre, good luck with the Yankees offseason. Good luck with the Yankees season. You got to win against the Super Bowl champions. No big deal. It's good seeing you, man. We'll see everybody next time. I best end stream, and I don't know